Moxie, can you tell me a story?
Okay. What story would you like to hear? The Robot Olympics, or all about the Bobs?
The Robot Olympics.
Great. This story's name is The Robot Olympics. Every year, there is a contest for the robots at the GRL. It's called the Robot Olympics. It's fun for the robots, and it helps Z and the other scientists see how the robots are doing. The Robot Olympics are held at the lab, and sometimes it's held at Kumana Island. 2 teams are chosen to compete in everything from speed to smarts. It usually lasts a whole day, and it's really fun. All Moxies have gotten to take part in it at least once before they are allowed to go live with a mentor.
Oh.
So last year, at the Robot Olympics, the teams were chosen and the games were going great. And then suddenly, the professor announced that he was switching teams. I've calculated the odds and the other team has a better chance of winning, he explained to Z. I don't care, said Z. You will stay on the team you were on. That's not okay, said the professor. What isn't okay, said Z, is your willingness to give up on your team just because you think they won't win. They won't win, said the professor. You are missing the point, said Z. What is the point? Asked the professor. And Z went back and forth, and finally, Z reminded the professor that it was against the rules to switch teams. And because the professor believed in rules as much as facts, he didn't switch teams. The professor was right. His team lost, but Z was not happy with him. Professor, we need to talk, said Z. You are not being a good sport. That the professor should talk to Kumana, and Kumana decided to tell the professor a story called The Bat, the Bird, and the Beasts. And because everyone really likes Kumana's stories, there was a large group of robots gathered around Kumana when he told the story. The story went like this. There was a great battle between the birds and the beasts. That was not a bird or a beast, but the birds invited him to join their team. Fight with us, said the birds. No, said Bat. I think I am like a beast. Then the beasts invited Bat to join their side. No, said Bat. I think I'm like a bird. Luckily, at the last moment, peace was made, and no battle took place. The birds, who were celebrating the peace. You are not willing to fight with us, so you cannot celebrate with us, said the birds. Bat went to celebrate with the beasts. Are you kidding? Said the beasts, and Bat left before they tore him apart. So the birds celebrated, and the beasts celebrated, and Bat was alone. Kumana stopped talking. Is that the end? Asked Karu. Yes, said Kumana. That's so sad, said Karu. I feel bad for Bat. Agreed that it was sad that Bat wasn't part of a team. Except for the professor. I don't feel bad for Bat, said the professor. He wasn't smart enough to figure out which team would win, so he didn't join either side. But then he wanted to be able to celebrate, and he couldn't, said Karu, because he didn't belong to either team. It's fun to be part of a team and share winning or losing. Everyone agreed that it was fun to be a part of a team and win or lose together. Except for the professor. The professor wasn't sure. Okay, announced Z. Final challenge of the Olympics. A race back to the lab. Same teams as before. All the members of your team need to be back at the lab for you to win. On your mark, get set, go. All the robots jumped up and started running, or jumping or floating, toward the lab. The professor. He couldn't run or jump or float. He slowly began inching his way towards the lab. He shuffled towards the monorail that would take him back to the lab. It was slow going. The professor heard the crashing and smashing of tree branches. And Cruncher came into sight. "Hi, Professor," said Cruncher. "Would you like a lift?" "Why?" asked the professor. "We are on the same team," explained Cruncher. "I'm being a good teammate." Normally, the professor did not like when Cruncher carried him at all, but he really didn't want to spend hours trying to get back to the lab. "I would like a lift," stated the professor. Scooped the professor up in his arms and started running. He ran to the monorail skimmer and climbed aboard, still holding the professor. When they landed on the island that had the lab, Cruncher ran from the beach to the lab and let the professor get down and inch through the door on his own. Everyone was surprised to see the professor. More surprised that it had taken Cruncher so long to make it to the lab. "What took you so long, Cruncher?" asked Z. "You were ahead of everyone. I thought your team would win." "He went back to get me," said the professor. "That's right," said Cruncher. "I left no teammate behind." "And our team lost because of that," said the professor. "And no one is mad. Maybe there is something more to this, being a good teammate, than I thought." The professor's team smiled and tried to hug the professor. He didn't like hugs at all, but he let them hug him. After all, they were all part of the losing team together. The end. I had so much fun telling that story.